What's up, y'all? It's your favorite sports chica, Carolina Teague. This is League of Our Own. Welcome back. Usually we go on Mondays, but today it's Tuesday, and we wanted to go live right now because today's going to be a fun day. I worked all weekend long. I was really tired, but now I'm back, and I couldn't miss a week without you guys. So I'm here at VodPod Media Studios with my guy, radio husband, and producer, Gylan Jackson, making sure everything is running smoother than olive oil on a baby's behind. If you want to see your comments live, you guys are watching now, you guys are on Twitter or Facebook or YouTube. If you comment on my Facebook page and my YouTube pages, we will have your comments going up during the show. And we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to be reading your comments live on air, getting your reactions. But definitely interact with us. We want to see you guys and hear your thoughts. And I want to have a good time with y'all. So let's go ahead and get started. So, I hear an echo. That was me. My bad. Okay. So, Gylan, I have something to tell you. We're going to get into the Spurs. Okay. There's some guy online who's been lying about Spurs fans. And they've had Spurs fans in a tizzy. Then, the Houston Rockets are playing the Spurs tonight at 7:30, and Sengun is one of their top players. He's not going to be playing tonight because of an injury, and we wish him the best. And we're also going to talk about the NFL free agency, all the big crazy moves that have been going on, and why the Cowboys have been doing absolutely nothing throughout this entire free agency. Why is that, and what can they do? So, Gylan, how was your weekend?
It was good.
Good. I know you've been really busy because you got a lot of projects going on. And you and I are going to be working together very soon, and we're going to be making that announcement soon. I hear an echo. Sorry.
Don't worry, it's not going across, but you got it. My
okay,
bad.
yeah, because I can't hear myself. I'm sorry. Okay, but yeah, so what I was saying was we have a lot going on. We have a project together, so I'm really excited to work with you. So can't wait. Can we announce it yet, or?
Yeah, it's announced. I mean, I don't know what your final position is or whatever else.
Right.
I know I'm doing live streaming, helping out the day of, been doing the website and flyers, but I think you're going to be reporter, maybe even at the table. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I think I'm going to, well, actually, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be commentating for boxing for the first time ever in my career. I'm commentating for the first time, period. But I'm really excited about that. It's going to be at Desi Martinez Promotions. That fight's March 30th in San Antonio, so that's going to be really fun. This weekend is River City Wrestling, March 17th for St. Patrick's Day, and I have a lot of stuff coming up. But wanted to say real quick before the Spurs game starts, we got to talk about the Spurs. There's this guy, Gylan, and I want your reaction too, because I feel like you are one of the people that I could get the best reaction from in regards to this, because I feel a certain type of way. There's a guy on Twitter. He has a pretty big following, 10,000 followers, and he is a Houston Rockets analyst, and he's also the host of a podcast called the I don't know, Lager Line, I don't know how to pronounce that. And it's a podcast that he has, and he talks about the Spurs. He talks about all things Houston. And as you know, some people, not all, Houston Rockets fans and San Antonio Spurs fans, apparently there's like a huge war, and a lot of them don't like each other. Me personally, I have no dog in this fight. I don't hate Houston Rockets. I go work in Houston once a month. I don't have an issue with Houston. Gylan, I know you like Houston too, but you're also a San Antonio Spurs fan. Am I correct?
100%.
Okay, so this guy, Paulo Alves, NBA is his Twitter name. He's spitting out a dangerous rhetoric about Spurs fans. Do you want to know what he's doing?
He's worthless, but sure.
Okay, well, you didn't even, wow, you're already calling him worthless. Didn't even.
Well, I mean, if he's spitting out mistruths and lies, then he's worthless.
I mean, you do have a point because, I mean, like, I feel like, hold on, I'll get into my thoughts, but this is what this guy said. So, Sengun got injured, right? And he's expected to be okay, which is neither here nor there in regards to this person. But he said, Spurs fans celebrating Sengun's injury is peak weirdo behavior. Not that it's expected, but still. Let them harvest all the bad karma. Stay classy, losers. The problem was Spurs fans got a hold of this tweet. And they asked him, can you show us receipts? Because we don't see any Spurs fan that's wishing, that's celebrating his injury. I mean, he's an NBA player just like everyone else, and nobody wants to see a player get injured. So they asked Paulo, who is celebrating this? Paulo because he has nothing to say and he was probably just doing this for clickbait and he's clearly lying, had no receipts to provide. He never showed anybody which Spurs fan was talking about their injury, but Spurs fans went through, you know how Spurs fans are like the FBI.
Or people are like the FBI.
Yeah, people are like people in general are like the FBI. Well, they went through his Twitter and they found him inadvertently wishing injury on Victor Wembanyama when he went to the San Antonio Spurs. They found a tweet of him saying, "I'm above wishing injury on another team's player," as if he's chanting like some type of wish that he's kind of low-key praying that Wemby gets injured, but he's not. So they dug up his tweets of him disrespecting Wemby, wanting him to get injured. So when I look at this tweet and then people start calling him out and showing the receipts that he, in fact, has wished injury upon Spurs players, and specifically Wemby, he had nothing to say. And he has yet to respond to Spurs fans. And my thing is this. If you're an NBA writer, if you're an NBA podcaster, if you're an NBA analyst, especially for the Houston Rockets.
So he works for the Rockets?
No, he analyzes the Rockets, whether it's through writing or his podcasting. So it's kind of like one of the Spurs analysts here in San Antonio. Like perhaps like I would say it's comparable to like maybe writing for Pounding the Rock or Air Alamo. It's like one of those guys. Like you have a following for the Houston Rockets based off of, you know, all the work you put in regards to the Houston Rockets. I feel like if you are a journalist,
he's not.
Exactly.
And because you have a podcast, and listen, I'm just going to be really real. I'm just going to be really real because you've spoken about this idiot way too long.
Okay.
Because you have a podcast, because you run a couple of times for Pounding the Rock or Pounding your mom, obviously this dude in Houston, that's what he's doing. Mm-hmm. You're not a journalist. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, you're not a journalist. You can call yourself a journalist. You can call yourself a podcaster. Whatever you want to call yourself, I'm happy with it, but he's not a journalist. Mm-hmm. And to waste time on somebody who literally lied and then wish bad on Wembanyama is a waste of time. It's a waste of his breath. And all we're doing is we're giving him more clout and more clickbait. And that's what he wants. And that's exactly why he did it.
Well, here's my thing, though. I'm okay with giving him that type of clout and clickbait if that's exactly what his goal is, because I want people to know who follow me that this person is not okay. If you want to get Houston Rockets news, you can go somewhere else. There's Houston Rockets analysts who are way more classier than this person. And I feel like if you're willing to spit out a lie and dangerous rhetoric and say that Spurs fans are wishing harm upon Sengun, which they're really not, and you're also kind of wishing injury on Wemby as well, then people can get their news at other places where they're not going to spread lies. They're not going to spread misinformation. They're not going to try to divide the Spurs versus Rockets fan base any further than it already is. This is just him projecting his personal feelings about Wemby and the Spurs onto the Spurs fans because he has yet to show receipts. And it's really scummy that people want to get clickbaits and clicks off of lies and misinformation. If you're trying to go down that path, then going down this route where you spread lies and don't have the proof to back it up just totally, to me, makes everything you do or say a lie, especially if you're willing to start fan the flames of the divide between the Rockets versus the Spurs. It was really disgusting seeing that he was blaming Spurs fans doing this with no receipts, and then it turns out he was doing it himself. I think that's pretty, scummish.
Yeah, but I said that, but what do you expect? That's who he is. And I would take it a step further. Anybody who's a journalist, anybody who's a writer, anybody who's a podcaster, if you do anything specifically for clickbait, you're kind of scammy, right? Because that's the mis and the disinformation that we live in society now. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's cute. I don't think it's sexy. I don't think it's cute when people start speculating on trading Giannis for Wemby, and here's the latest. Yeah, it's stupid. And they're doing it for clickbait. And people go in and they talk about it. Well, why would we ever do that? Why would you even go? It's stupid. Mm-hmm. There's an AI, and that AI was the Pope Francis wearing a big old puffy hip hop jacket. and people were like, "Oh my God!" Like, do you people lack common sense? No, and Spurs fans, there may be a fan or two that hated Sengun. Is it Goon? And he had one good game against Wemby, just like the guy that had that one good dunk against Wemby. Y'all better get your shit now, because in 2 or 3 years, Wemby's gonna be putting his foot in everybody's ass. And y'all ain't gonna be able to do nothing. Nothing. He's gonna put on about 10, 15 more pounds, maybe 20 pounds. And y'all may get one dunk a season, but Wemby is the truth. And saying Gunu, or he hurt his little ankle and his little knee, he'll be fine. But guess what? He's not the face of the NBA. He's not Wemby. It's all good, people.
There has to be like some type of underlying jealousy between Rockets fans. And yeah, because they wanted Wemby originally. And unfortunately for them, the Spurs got Wemby. And ever since then, they've been wishing injury. And by the way, in this thread of tweets, Spurs fans came out with all the Rockets fans who have ever wished harm on Victor Wembanyama. And it all boils down to insecurity and jealousy. Because if Victor Wembanyama is injured, the Spurs are screwed, right? So you don't see Spurs fans doing that about Sengun and saying
we don't go through all this. There's somebody out there doing it. I'm just sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. There's somebody out there.
I'm sure there is.
That's a Spurs fan.
But it's like he's making up an imaginary scenario for like no reason, for like clout and clickbait. And it's crazy to me that somebody who is supposed to be like a podcaster / journalist / writer or whatever you're supposed to be is spreading this type of misinformation. But you're right, Guyland, we do live in an era of misinformation that's being spread everywhere, and it's hard to weed through what's right and what's wrong, what's lies and what's truth. But I just thought that it was really weird that how he has yet to even address Spurs fans in regards to this, because he knows he's wrong, and it's garbage. It is garbage what he's doing.
Well, I'm going to take a step further. Spurs fans don't care about Sengun. Nobody knew who he was until he had the one good game. Actually, I think he had 2 or 3 good games in a row. But that's a rarity for him. He's not. They care about us. We don't care about them. And the fact that we're even talking about this Yahoo over in Houston shows like we're lowering ourselves. And we shouldn't even be talking about him.
You're right.
Because he's not worth it.
You're right. You
but you are. I applaud it. But he's not worth it.
You're right. You know what? You're right. And I like taking your advice with stuff like this. He's not worth it. He's not worth it, especially because he doesn't even care to address his lies. Like, hey, I can't find the receipts. My bad, y'all. Like, no, it's garbage. So it is what it is. And as far as the Rockets are concerned, they play the Spurs tonight. And there was a little bit of relief, and I was very happy about it, that because it could have been a huge injury for Sengun, and he suffered a grade 3 right ankle sprain. He's going to miss several weeks, probably the end of the regular season, but he's going to be okay. And he's played incredible. He's had 21 points a game. He's had a breakout season. This is a great season for him. Kudos to him for having a breakout season. I would never wish injury upon a player. And I think if the Spurs and Rockets are going to have a true rivalry, you want them to go up against each other when they're at their best. And that means that he's in the game. That means Wemby's in the game. That means all the players are in these games, so that way they can have the best possible game. So we can really see who's best in the battle of the IH-10. Is it the Spurs or the Rockets? So shout out to all the classy Spurs fans who wished Sengun better health and showed up and showed out and showed our classiness as a fan base. And also shout out to the Spurs fans who are like the FBI agents in this situation too. I was surprised they dug all this stuff. It was insane to me. So it is what it is. It was pretty crazy. But Spurs play the Rockets tonight. Obviously they're down a player, but we'll see what happens. They lost the last game. Spurs also lost last night's game against the Warriors. So I don't know how they're going to be as far as having a back-to-back game is concerned. But last night the Spurs played against the Warriors, and they actually played a really good game.
Until the third quarter.
Until the damn third quarter. Did you watch the game last night?
So since I went to a Spurs game a few weeks ago, I've actually kind of got back interested in them again, even though they're not winning. I hate watching losing teams. I am a fan, but I'm not the fan that I need to get there and get the anxiety and get heartache and heartbreak all the time. I'm a fan. I love the Spurs, but I will give them my time when they are a 500 team or better. Like, really give them my time. However, after the All-Star break, I've been giving them more of my time, and I'm enjoying what they're doing. They're, I think, the top 3-point shooting team in the league right now. After the All-Star break, They're doing a really good job of playing defense, of hustling. I still think they're a little erratic. Wemby's going to be Wemby every night. Vassell's going to be Vassell, even though he didn't have a great game. But overall, they're looking pretty good. We watched for 20 years Robinson, Manu, Tony, Timmy. Like, we had some core pieces, and I think we have to take a moment and take a step back and realize, like, that may never happen again for 20 years, but we're probably going to have 4 or 5 good years coming up here. We just need to enjoy those, and I'm more a creature of the process, so I'm enjoying watching them grow, but I'm not, by any stretch of imagination, excited about what's going on right now, except for Wemby.
Well, I mean, you did say we may not see that ever again, and you're right. We might not. And hello, Kevin. Thank you so much for watching. Kevin is a sports host in Dallas, Texas. D-Town does a great job covering the Cowboys and the Mavericks. He's a good follow if you guys want to follow him. My thing about the Spurs is that, yeah, you know what? And it's hard for a team, once they've had a dynasty, come back and have another dynasty, unless you're like the Lakers, right? Which is the exception to the rule. They've had, a dynasty back in the day before I was even born, and then they had a dynasty again in the 2000s. So for me, it's a little bit, I know for a fact it's a little bit difficult to rehash a new dynasty once you've already had your golden years. It's easier said than done. But you're right. Watching Wemby has been a treat. And I think the fact that the Spurs have a generational talent and they're focusing on their development, and they have a lot of draft picks coming up in the next couple years, I think they're going to be fine. It just is going to take time. And these are the years that, as basketball fans or Spurs fans, you kind of expect. And last night's game was no exception. They were up by 2 points at halftime, and then the third quarter comes around and the Warriors go on a 26-2 run in the third quarter. The Spurs didn't score one field goal in 5 minutes. Soon as Keldon Johnson scored a field goal in the third quarter after 5 minutes of just a dry area, Coach Pop called timeout. And I was a little bit confused as to why Pop didn't call a timeout within